In this video, we will start with the last chapter, that is space missions. Now, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the different space missions which have been carried out by India and other countries. Now, man has always been curious about the unknown places and he has always been eager to expand his knowledge by exploring the unknown world. And this was the reason why space mission has become a more and more success. Now, there has been an development in technology, and because of that, there has been development in the space mission also. Now there are few terms that you have already studied in your previous classes, like the sky, which is the visible portion. We can see the sky. It is in the atmosphere and it is the outer space. We have the space, which is everything beyond the sky. Next, we have the different objects in our solar system, that is sun, moon, planets. We have dwarf planets, we have comets, asteroids, artificial satellite. So when you study about all of these things about the sky, space, all of these things which are present in the space, that everything is included in the space mission. So simply, why do we want to go into the space is to explore the universe, to know more and more about the universe, to see what things actually look like, to observe the earth from the space, that how our earth look like from different locations when you go outside the earth. Then also to examine different heavenly bodies, to see how much power do they have, how do they look, how much, which is having which color, which is having how much of energy, whether is it able to survive in any other planet or not. And also we want to need evidences of the terrestrial life, that is, if you want to know about more and more, that whether can anyone survive in those particular areas. So these are all the reasons why we go into the space and study about the space. Now, space missions can be either manned or unmanned. Manned is like when people go into the space along with the rocket and all. And unmanned is you just send a vehicle there, you send a satellite there, and then you study about the different aspects of the universe. So it can be both manned as well as unmanned. Now there are two types of space mission. First is satellites, which are orbiting around the Earth, and second is the spacecraft, which is away from the Earth. So the satellites which are orbiting around the Earth, these satellites are useful to gather information about a lot of the things happening around us. Now, what can be the need and importance of space missions? So we all know that world has become a global village because of these space missions only. Today we can connect with person anywhere in the world. We can gather information about any of the stuff happening around the world or about any topic. And we all know the importance of the internet. And due to internet, many information is available in the click of your fingertips. So this is why there is a need and importance of space missions. Even if you want to know about natural calamities, there for this also we have information. We can even get information about the entertainment which is happening all around the world. If something happens in the US, we can know about that. So all of this has become possible only because of space missions. So this is the reason why the space missions are important and is needful. Here are few of the astronauts who had went to the space and have studied about the space, and those are called as the manned mission. Like we have the Yuri Gagarin who went in 1961. We have Neil Armstrong, which we know about. Rakesh Sharma is there. Kalpana Chawla is there. Sunita Williams is there. These all astronauts have went into the space to gather information about the space. Let us now talk about satellite. So as you all know, satellite is an object which is revolving around a planet, and like around the earth, moon is revolving. So moon is our satellite, that is satellite of the earth. So mainly there can be two types of satellite, natural satellite and artificial satellite. If we talk about natural satellites, these satellites are present in the nature. For example, the moon. Moon is the natural satellite which is continuously revolving around the earth. Next are the artificial satellites, which are the satellites, are the man-made satellites. We humans send these satellites into the earth around the orbits of the earth to know the information, like there is weather satellite, we have communication satellite, there is military satellite, and each of the satellite has its own a function, and the satellite will do that particular function, is used for that particular function only. So the first artificial satellite which was sent into the space was Sputnik, which was sent by the Soviet Union, and this was sent in 1957. And today there are more than thousands of satellites which are orbiting around the Earth. The satellite which works on solar energy. So we have the solar photovoltaic panels are attached on both the sides. As you can see here in the picture, two photovoltaic cells are attached on both the sides of the satellite. There are also instruments which are installed in the satellite to gather the information, like there are photos, there is a camera to click the pictures of what things are happening. There are different instruments to get the information in the earth. So these are all the parts which are there in the artificial satellite. Now, satellite may have different types of instrument, but it depends on the function of the satellite. And if we talk about the satellite, so some satellites are used to send signals to the Earth. So the signals transmitted from the Earth to the satellite, and from the satellite to the mobile tower, and from the mobile phone, we can see the signal. So these are the satellite which send the signal, and depending on the function, the satellites can also be classified into few different categories that we are going to see now. So there are different types of satellite, like we have weather satellite. From the name you can know that it is used to study and predict about the weather, what conditions of the weather is going to happen. We have communication satellite. It is used to establish communication between different locations in the world, and it can be through many other different space ways, like different types of communication can be maintained. Now these satellites function only for that purpose only. We have broadcast satellite. It is used for telecasting of television programs. We have navigational satellite, which fix the location of any place on the earth. If you want to know where you want to go, the Google Maps and all, they all are working on this satellite thing. Next we have military satellites, which is very top priority, and security is there in these type of satellite. We have earth observation satellites, where there are different observation of different natural calamities of or any other calamity is going to happen or not, how much greenery is left, or what is happening around the earth. So for that we have different satellite. ऐसे करके we have more and more different types of satellites for each and every function. Let us now talk about the orbits of artificial satellites. So all the artificial satellites, they do not revolve in the similar orbits around the Earth. If they would have revolved around the same orbit, there were chances that they might collide. So the orbit is decided by the function of the satellite, and according to the function, the height of the satellite's orbit is decided. And according to that, we have high Earth orbits, medium Earth orbit, and low Earth orbit. So first is the high Earth orbits. So if the height of the satellite's orbit is above the Earth's surface and is greater than or equal to around 35,780 kilometers, so the orbit is called as the high Earth orbit. And this orbit is also called as, these type of satellites which revolve in the orbit, they are also called as the geosynchronous satellite. And the satellites complete one revolution in around 24 hours. Now, these satellites are stationary with reference to the Earth, as they are completing one revolution in 24 hours. The Earth also completes one revolution in 24 hours. So therefore, they are used in application like meteorology and for carrying signals from telephone, television, radio, etc. So for all these purposes, the satellites are sent into the high Earth orbit, that is HEO. Next is the medium Earth orbit. So if the height of the satellite orbit above the Earth's surface is between 2000 kilometers and 35,780 kilometers. The orbits are called as the medium Earth orbits. Now, the satellites which revolve around these orbits, they complete one revolution in around 2 to 24 hours, and they are also called as the polar orbits. The orbits in which the satellite will be revolving, they are called as the polar orbits. And these satellites are used for the function for navigation. So, for all the navigation purposes, the satellites are sent into the medium Earth orbit. And the satellite is called as MEO satellite. Next, we have the low Earth orbit satellite. So, if the height of the satellite orbit above the Earth's surface is between 180 kilometers and 2000 kilometers, so that orbit is called as the low Earth orbits. And these satellites are used for scientific purposes, for experimental purposes. Also, the height of the orbits, according to the heights of the orbit, they complete one revolution in 90 minutes. Next, we are going to talk about the satellite launch vehicle. Now, the satellite which you have to send in a particular orbit, it has to be sent with some vehicle. So that is called as the satellite launch vehicle. Now, what does this vehicle do is, it is used to place the satellite in their specific orbits. And the functioning of this vehicle is based on Newton's third law of motion. So the launch vehicle uses specific type of fuel. The normal fuel is not used there. Uh, Also, there is a thrust which acts on the vehicle, which drives the vehicle high into the space because of the fuel which is present in it. Now, the structure of the vehicle is decided according to the weight of the satellite and the type of the satellite also, and in which orbit it has to go. So for that, we use all these things and decide that which satellite, which space, which vehicle you have to use, which launch vehicle you have to use. Now, the fuel of the vehicle also depends on the same factors like the weight of the satellite and in which orbit you have to send. If you have to send it to the higher orbit, you have to store more amount of fuel into it. So the fuel forms a major portion of the total weight because it has to go into a lot of orbits. So it requires a lot of fuel in it. And this is the reason why every launch vehicle will have two or more storage capacity for the fuel and where the fuel can be stored. But the problem arises as if more amount of space will be occupied by the fuel, the weight of the entire satellite and the launch vehicle will increase. So to overcome this problem, launch vehicle with more than one stage usually are used. And to reduce the weight, there are steps which are being taken after the launching, and then the satellite is sent into that particular orbit. Now, for example, if you consider a launch vehicle and it is having two stages. Now, as it having two stages, the weight of the vehicle has increased. So, for launching the vehicle, the fuel and the engine in the first stage are used, and this imparts a specific velocity to the vehicle and takes it to a certain particular height. Now, once the fuel in this first stage is exhausted, the empty fuel tank which is there, it gets automatically detached from the main body of the vehicle, and either it will fall into the sea or into an unpopulated land. Now, as the fuel in the first stage is exhausted, the fuel in the second stage gets ignited, and the vehicle now contains only one fuel and even the weight is reduced. So the vehicle can move with a higher speed because there is less weight. So almost all the vehicles are made either by two stages, or if it has to be sent in more deeper into the around the orbits, so if we use 3-4 stage vehicle. So here you can see in the picture we have the PSLV, which is called as the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, which was developed by ISRO, which is in India. So now the PSLV, it has four stages. The first stage is having solid fuel, then we have the second stage which is having liquid, then again solid and again liquid, and on the top we have the place for the satellite. Now all these parts, it keeps detaching when it goes to a particular height, and then only one stage and the satellite remains, and then when, so that the weight of the satellite is reduced. Now one drawback of using the launch vehicle is that they can be used only once. So to overcome this problem, there has been development in the technology, and we have developed space shuttles which can be reused again and again for launching the satellites, and this the even the cost can be reduced, and also the debris which is formed into the space, that also can be reduced. Now, because of the curiosity to know what is outside the earth, we have done many missions. First was the moon mission. Now since moon is the closest object to us, so the first mission was the moon mission, and it was done by many countries, like USA has done it, China, European countries, even India has done it. The spacecraft Luna was sent, which was the first spacecraft which reached near the moon. And after that, we have studied about the moon. Uh, we have studied many things about the gravity. We have analyzed the moon, and many other things have been. But all these missions were unmanned. Humans were not sent earlier. America executed the first moon mission, which was the manned mission, and Neil Armstrong was the first human to step on the moon. After that, so many missions have been continuously done. In 2008, the ISRO successfully launched Chandrayaan-1 and placed it into the orbits around the moon. And it sent useful information to the Earth for almost a year. The most important discovery made during that mission was the presence of water on the moon. So India was the first country to discover about the presence of water on the moon. Next, after the moon, we have done Mars mission also, which is next to the moon, and it is also nearest to the Earth. Now, many nations had sent their space to the Mars, but it was very difficult to actually reach there. And India was the first. We had sent Mangalyaan. There is also a movie which you must have seen, where they sent the satellite to the Mars, and that was the Mars mission, which was done in September 2014. We have also done many other missions to the other planets, where either the satellite has reached to the orbit, it has circled, gathered pictures, and then sent to the Earth. So there has been a lot of enhancement and discovery in these type of missions. Now, as a lot of missions, artificial satellites are being sent into the Earth, a lot of space missions are carried out. So, there has been a huge problem of the space junk, the parts which are not used, the satellites which get destroyed, the launch vehicles which are there in the Earth. So, Earth's surface into the space. So, all these debris has been collected, and this debris include lot of rockets part, a lot of liquid materials which has been sent, which has been burned, a lot of solid uh, motor parts are there, many things are there, and it leads to a lot of problems when we send any a particular spacecraft there, because of which there are chances that the spacecraft might get collided with the debris and get destroyed. So there are different research going on in which they are studying about that how the debris can be cleared, but still they have not succeeded. But soon we hope that the space debris will be cleared out.